1 minute ago. What just happened with Shasta Lake terrifies scientists. Shasta Lake in California has seen an astonishing transition, going from being in an acute drought to almost overflowing. Recreationalists delight as water levels increase, but experts caution the path to water sustainability is still unclear. In addition, whereas Trinity Lake, a nearby lake, struggles, Shasta Lake prospers. How, therefore, did Shasta Lake undergo such a remarkable transformation? What are the future prospects for Lake Shasta and the rest of California's water supplies, in the opinion of experts? Stay tuned as we explore the fascinating story of Shasta Lake's amazing revival. Shasta Lake is a reservoir that serves as the foundation of the Central Valley Project. It is situated in Shasta County, California. The lake is the biggest man-made lake in the state and is located directly on the upper Sacramento River. Shasta Lake is situated 10 miles north of Redding, according to the map. Shasta Lake's history dates all the way back to the early 1900s, when construction on the massive Shasta Dam began. Standing tall at an astounding 602 feet, this dam was a huge engineering achievement. The Pitt, McCloud, and Sacramento Rivers were all dammed up as part of the construction of Shasta Dam. Each of the so-called arms preserves its intriguing personality, surroundings, history, and recreational activities. The second tallest concrete dam in the whole of the United States is Shasta Dam. After some time, the dam was finished in 1945. Lake Shasta was also full by 1948. That is how Shasta Lake was created. 30,000 acres total make up Shasta Lake. The lake's ability to retain roughly 4,552,000 acre-feet of water, and its elevation when it is at full pool is 1,067 feet above sea level. It ranks third in size among the aquatic bodies in California, behind Lake Tahoe and the Salton Sea. Shasta Lake's deepest point is 517 feet below the surface, so if you dive deep, you can discover it. That is a lot of profundity. Lake Shasta has been a crucial water source for hydroelectric production, flood risk management, and agriculture. Shasta Lake serves a practical purpose, but it is also a tranquil haven for thrill seekers. It is a paradise for lovers of boating, fishing, water skiing, and camping, with over 370 kilometers of breathtaking shoreline. The lake, however, has encountered its share of difficulties. Water levels in important reservoirs all around the state fell as a result of Lake Shasta being severely affected by a 3-year drought that persisted. This raises the question of how Lake Shasta went from being in a severe drought to nearly overflowing. The lack of precipitation and diminishing snowpack in California between 2020 and 2022 caused water levels to drop to dangerously low levels, alarming the population and leaving the reservoir almost empty. These reservoirs are essential for Central Valley's irrigation system, flood control, and water storage needs. They also offer recreational opportunities. However, up in Northern California, Trinity Lake is experiencing something very different. While Shasta Lake and Lake Oroville are booming, Trinity Lake is much more below average, only operating at 39% of its normal capacity. The water level is an astounding 120 feet below the dam's peak if you measure that way. Now, you might be wondering why Trinity Lake is having trouble while Shasta Lake is booming. The 3 years around Trinity Lake saw the worst drought the reservoir had ever experienced. The water level last reached its average level and conditions appeared favorable back in 2019. Trinity Lake had low storage levels at the beginning of the year due to the severe drought that lasted for a long time. But there's more. These two reservoirs fill in very differently from one another. With a large drainage basin, Lake Shasta has the advantage of filling up more quickly all year round. The poor Trinity Lake, on the other hand, has a considerably smaller basin. Thus, it takes longer for the snow on the mountain to melt and fill the lake. It is difficult for Trinity Lake to catch up in just one season since the drainage basin above the dam is so constrained. The interesting portion is now here. The Sierra Nevada mountains experienced an above-average snowpack as a result of recent wet weather in the area. Strong atmospheric river storms dropped tons of snow on the Sierra Nevadas, setting records for snowpack. When spring arrives, the temperature rises, melting all of the snow. It trickles down the slopes, entering the reservoirs along the way to help restock them. The fresh water supply in California depends greatly on that snowfall. About 30% of the water in the state comes from it. When it melts, streams and rivers flow much more when they are filled with water in the spring and early summer. It functions as a kind of natural reservoir high in the mountains and may potentially raise Lake Shasta's water levels. But wait a moment. Although the rapid melt seems wonderful, it also raises certain issues, particularly in terms of floods. The reason for this is that the land in the western United States has grown extremely dry due to the protracted mega-drought we have been experiencing. The Earth will not have time to absorb all that melting snow if it falls too quickly. This might worsen the effect of the drought by causing flash flooding in Central Valley, Lake Clear, and Yosemite. Furthermore, the region's requirement for cautious water management is amplified by the depleted groundwater supplies and aquifers. We constantly have to strike a delicate balance between receiving adequate water and preventing flooding. It may appear like having an abundance of water will end California's drought, but things are much more complicated than that. The necessary groundwater supplies are not fully replenished due to the dry soils and the risk of flash floods. An attorney for environmental and energy-related matters named Laura Fowler noted that increased groundwater pumping has led to significant aquifer level declines, which have an impact on stream water flow. Don't get me wrong, the recent water boom is welcome after such a protracted drought. But that doesn't mean all our water problems are magically solved. We are still uncertain about what the future holds for Lake Shasta and the rest of California regarding water. But hey, there's some good news. Don Bader, a Northern California area manager for the Bureau of Reclamation, feels optimistic about the situation. He expects Lake Shasta to maintain high water level throughout the summer, and that the expected decrease of 40 to 50 feet by September is beneficial for recreational purposes. Additionally, he is optimistic that the area will have a typical winter storm, which might cause Lake Shasta to completely refill. Let us not go too far just yet. Professor of Hydrogeology Graham Fogg wants to keep us in our place. Although the recent rain has been beneficial, he warns us that it will not entirely undo the impacts of the drought. Even when reservoirs are full, there might not always be enough water. We have observed firsthand how quickly reservoir levels can fluctuate. As a result, even while we might be cautiously optimistic about the present circumstances, it is crucial to be watchful and monitor our water resources. I will see you in the upcoming episode if you subscribe to Space Destiny.